Alright, I'm in the Augusta sandbox, and one of the things I noticed when I first logged in was I took a look at all of the menus here, and the menus are the same as in the current user interface that we're using for Alma, but of course they don't have all of the options that we do because we have not configured the user roles yet. So the very first thing you have to do to use the sandbox is to go into user details and scroll down the page and add your roles. So I've started adding some of these, and you'll see that the ones that are grayed out have not been added, so we would need to add a circulation desk operator. And so the way you do that is to there is on here there's no actions button. You'll notice that they just had a kind of a gray, it's a little gray button with ellipsis in here. So you highlight the role name and you click on the gray button, click on Edit, and then you have to set your scope. And we'll just do Reese Library because I think that's the main library at Augusta, and we have to make this active because it's defaulted as inactive. And the expiration date will just set to be, way out in the future at some point. I actually don't think you have to do an expiration date, but we'll just do an expiration date there. And then you have to do a circulation desk, and so we'll select any here. Well, we can do service physical location any and Reese Library circulation desk. We have that checked, and then we'll do add a circulation desk and then save role. And so that's how we just added the circulation desk operator role, and you'll see now this role has been added because it's gone from being gray to being blue. And quite possibly if we went into no, I still don't see that we have everything, so we'll probably have to continue adding the rest of the roles to be able to start to see some more of the options show up in admin and fulfillment menus. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting to note. One of the other cool things is when you add the widgets, when you drag them around your desktop or dashboard, they actually stick. And that's one of the things that's been driving me crazy with our current UI, is that you can't drag and drop all of the reports on your desktop and have them stick where you want them to be. The results page looks pretty much exactly like it does currently. And you have your facets over on the left hand side, and you've got your records over here on the right. There are a couple of interesting things about this, and one of them is that they cleaned up the mark display here, and they also fixed the tabs. So when you want to toggle between the different institutions, like the community zone, the network zone, and your institution zone, it's easy to see what zone you're currently in because the tab is now a different color than the other ones. And that was always a hard thing to tell in Alma. So if I toggle over to the institution zone, then this tab's going to be white and the other ones are going to be a different color. And they also changed the icons, so you'll notice that the institution tab has a little house icon instead of the if you had a record that was linked from the institution zone to the network zone, it would have had the blue-headed person. I'm not sure I can show an example of that, but they changed the icons for their different zones, so that actually looks a lot better than it does currently. And they also cleaned up the configuration pages, so it's a lot easier to see what your different options are in each category. So it's a lot easier to read the page. So under library management, you've got opening hours, and I really like the way this looks. This looks a lot cleaner and easier to see. And here we're looking at one of the library calendars, and you can see the events and exceptions that are inherited from the institution calendar, and they have the green check marks. And this is just so much easier to see than how it looks currently. And this is what the user records look like. And so you can see that the page looks very similar to what we have now. And there's the primary ID. And they also have the secondary identifier. And all the tabs are the same. So this shouldn't pose any problem for a steep learning curve or anything. This all looks just about like it does currently, except the page looks a lot cleaner, and I like the spacing and I like the different colors, and it makes everything easier to see on the page. Alright, so let's check something out to this person and see what that looks like. Actually, it's not reading this barcode, so that's interesting. So why don't we just search by title, and we'll just put in Georgia. Did not find anything. Let's see. Let's do it by barcode. Nope. Yeah, maybe that's just not working right now. So there's an advanced search here, and that's a little different than the search box on the persistent toolbar that they had before. So we've got these options here. One thing I'm noticing is I don't see a link for the currently at location, which I find interesting, since that's such a big part of the current user interface. So I'm not really sure where that would be located. Alright, here's some that are on loan currently, so you see that the item's not in place. It doesn't give you any information about, well, it does. Here we go. So here's the borrower name. I suppose that's a borrower name, and the loan date. And clicking on the link should pull up the borrower. So that person has this one book out, although I don't see it showing up on the loans tab. And that's about all I've looked at so far with the new user interface. So that's about it.